on this Saturday evening. We have been talking about Iran American conflict and lesson we can learn as supply chain and negotiation students, and also what are the other leadership lessons we can learn in this whole episode. Honestly, we can learn through books and we can read hundreds of books, but no book is going to teach you better than analyzing the current geopolitical situation and how the negotiation being conducted right now between President Trump and rest of the leaders. We have been talking about 3D negotiation, three-dimensional negotiation, that being tactical, technical, and strategic. And we have been saying this, that President Trump really think that he's the best negotiator, and he always boasts about his negotiation skills. And now is the best time to see really proof in the pudding, that exactly, is he really the best negotiator, or does he even look at all dimensions of the negotiation and all the stakeholders? So it's one thing to say that you are ABC, but it's another thing to analyze and really learn from the experience, that what exactly is being missed, or what is really marvelous. There are a lot of leaders we see, and they say, some of the leaders, they don't say much, but they do a lot more. But there are other leaders who talk a lot, but they deliver very little. So we have seen in the last 2, 3 months, particularly in the last 2 months, that President Trump has been making lots and lots of claims. But unfortunately, he make one claim, next day he make another claim, next day he make another claim, then he moves forward with something, and then he back down, and all that kind of stuff. The reality is that his entire negotiation is all about tactics. He used his power and power tactics to really get results. And that's the reason he's keep making threats. And what he doesn't realize is that Iranians are actually, they don't say it, but I had a lot of experience working with the Iranians. They are very good negotiators, by the way. Their whole culture, um, really, they don't really learn through books, but their culture is very deep, and they have a very, very rich history. So their culture is very much based on negotiation. So if you ever had a chance to work with an Iranian, you will really enjoy their negotiation skills. So they're inherently good negotiator because of their cultural values. So over here, you see, they're not making lots of claims, but they are actually um, taking their steps very strategically, and they're analyzing their situation and their stakeholders very technically. So they actually understand each dimension of this negotiation. They are using tactics as well, wherever they have to use it. But more interestingly, they are analyzing the situation with lots of technical capabilities and domain expertise. We thought that they have no army, no navy, no aviation capabilities. But look at, they didn't claim, but they have something very, very new. They are teaching, you know, they are teaching everybody how to be non-conventional and come up with totally new approach, which is something your enemy hasn't even seen or analyzed, and you come up with new ideas, new technologies, new strategies, and even new tactics, and you really uh, you know put your enemy to fear because of your new strategies and new technologies. So lesson learned here is that if you are ever dealing with your other parties and your partners, you cannot just always threat, even though you may be in a position of power. But if you use all of your capital by just demanding things, it may work once or twice, and it may work with one or two or three people, but it may not work with everybody. So you better have more tools in your toolkit. You cannot just have tactics and power play, because power play does work. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it doesn't work all the time. And it does not bring long term strategic partnership in the long run. It may bring, you may win the battle, but you may lose the war. That's very now this if this episode can teach us anything, the best thing to learn is that how to be, not how not to be penny wise and pound foolish. Unfortunately, we have proven, and President Trump has proven that he's being, penny wise and pound foolish. Because even if he gets everything he's looking for, what is he looking for? He's looking for a deal where he can say, oh, I stop Iran for being not nuclear. By the way, Iran is not even trying to be nuclear. That's not really their long term. They have come up with absolutely new, non-traditional way of combating and defending themselves, that they probably never need a nuclear. It's good to have, but why do they really need that if they can really, strike their enemies' bases with conventional warheads or new technology warhead with, superior aviation um, methodologies, whether they are Chinese or Russian, but they have it, and they can hit. Then why spend billions of dollars on nuclear technology? Why? But they are keeping it, they're dangling it so that they can negotiate, and Mr. Trump can say, oh, I stopped their nuclear technology. It's really, even if Mr. Trump gets everything he wants, that's still nothing, provided Iranian get to charge the toll, which is $2 million per container. I mean, so that's a lot of toll. That's billions of dollars. That's more than their total economy. And if they uh, get their sanctions lifted, if they don't have the war on their head, then honestly they are the long-term winners. And more importantly, they have already won that most of our allies who were having our bases, named Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, and many others, who were in our camp at the very least. Now they may still be in our camp, but they have become meddler. They are not allies anymore. Remember I told you that it is the degree of interest and interdependence. Their interest has tremendously decreased in our technologies because it didn't really help them. We were not able to stop any, um, we were not able to stop Iranian missiles to Saudi Arabia, to Qatar, to UAE, even to Oman. We were not able to stop them. So why would they rely on us? So their reliance is less on us. So their interest is less. And then interdependence, matter of fact, that's tremendously changed because their alliance and their interdependence with the United States is actually coming to haunt them, because Iran has openly said that if you provide bases, or if America really use any of your bases to attack Iran, then we will attack you. So that's the reason MBS has said to Trump that look, A, you didn't even talk to us when you announced, any of your new tactics, whether that is, freedom mission or whatever else you want to call it. You don't really take us in confidence. And if you attack Iran, Iran is going to attack us. They can attack America, maybe, but they can attack us. So it is really our liability. So if you can protect us, that's one thing, but we do not want attacks from Iran. So we cannot allow you to use our bases or use our soil. If Saudi Arab, Qatar, Oman don't allow United States to use their soil, United States would be in deep trouble. It would not be able to control the Gulf. And if Gulf countries are not relying on the United States, then our hegemony, our control is lost. So we get lots and lots of business from all these countries, which we won't get. China and Russia will replace United States. So the history is being made here. So our tactical negotiation is really hurting us big time. So this whole war, if you want to sum up the whole thing, could be summed up with two words: bad negotiation and bad supply chain prep. So if you're a supply chain leader and if you are a negotiator, you should learn from this Iran America war. History is being made, and these things will be studied for years to come. And these will be the best negotiation and supply chain lessons you're gonna get in the long run. So look what China has been doing. China built 8 different corridors, supply chain pathways, whether that is maritime pathways or Belt and Road Initiative. They have built 8 different routes to reach out to the entire world. We have done nothing in that time frame. In the last 20 years, and especially last 10 years, China has tremendously built their Belt and Road Initiative. And they have touched, 3/4 of the world with their Belt and Road Initiative, whereas we have done nothing. All we have is few um, big warships, and we think that we could control the entire world with that. Unfortunately, that is not enough, and that is not helping. And if Iran is able to show that, then unfortunately, it's almost like Iran has really made us naked. People really don't rely us anymore, and they are not looking at us um, as a savior or even as a reliable partner. So they have to look at others. So we may, tell our people that, oh, we have won the war, but unfortunately, we have lost our future. May God forbid. Seems to me we have a major turning point in the history, and especially in the United States history going forward. Our future is going to be totally changed based on what we have done. And that could be summed up with two major mistakes. Number one, we did not prepare ourselves building any long term um, global highways. And secondly, we did very, very bad job in negotiating. Uh, in other ways, you can say diplomacy. We thought everything could be resolved with our might, with power play. And it's been proven that power play is not everything. Might has its value, but if even might is not used with wisdom, then unfortunately it could be a liability instead of asset. And that's exactly what we have done. We have turned our strengths into weaknesses. We have turned our assets into liability. We have turned our allies to meddlers and even blockers. So, our job's supposed to be as good negotiator to turn meddlers into allies and blockers into meddlers by creating more mutual interest satisfaction and mutual interdependence. What we have done reverse. We have almost scared the whole world. First, Europe with all this Greenland, Iceland discussions and tariff war and all that. We first did that. We created all those strong allies to those who become blockers. These people become from allies to blockers, and the proof is in the pudding. They didn't come to help us. If we would have not alienated them, they may have been our supporters in this conflict, but they really stayed away. So that's number one. And number two, uh, we also created major chaos. First, we created chaos in Europe, and then we created a chaos in Asia. And if we have a chaos in Europe and Asia, and we are stripped naked, and our bluff is called, we lost it. And unfortunately, we have very little time to recover. Sooner we realize our mistakes and we start using wisdom and strategy, uh, and we create more alliances and give people due respect, and get out of those conflicts which are not our conflicts. This Iran conflict is not our conflict. It's only Israel's conflict. And let Israel deal with its own problems. We don't need to be, putting our 350 million people's largest economy on stake for a 9 million people country. It's shame. It's really shame. And we really need to utilize, we have lots of very wise people, lots and lots of very strategic thinkers, and we also have a lot of technology. Unfortunately, we are not using all those good people, and we have put very, very low level thinkers. Unfortunately, people like our Secretary of War and what have you. I mean, I don't want to name. It's so unfortunate that these guys have become our representative, and we have gone wrong. I will say I was gone wrong because I was very much happy that we have a businessman who is going to be taking care of our presidency, and is going to really take all the waste out, and is going to not create any more wars and create more peace and stability. It's unfortunately going all in haywire and totally opposite. I think it's not too late. I think even Mr. Trump wanted to get out of this, but he just doesn't know how. And unfortunately, he still keep getting murmur and pull from the Israel lobby. I hope the sanity prevail quickly, especially before going to China, and we come back to peace, because we badly need that in this world. But nevertheless, this has been the best supply chain and negotiation prep for the rest of our life. May God bless you all. Thank you.